think that the ordinance in and of itself is good. I think we have a major problem with vaping from teenagers, and I think it's something we should really be looking at. But at this moment, I would make a motion that we rescind the approval of ordinance number 119 until we go a little farther down the road and decide. There is a bill in the assembly floating around. It has not been formalized or promulgated yet, that coming through Assemblyman Mancuso, and they are going to look into vaping and coming up with the thought process and penalties for it. Well, state trumps local, so anything that we do as far as putting in penalties or thought processes will be ameliorated when the time comes for the state to come back with the bill. And I hope it does. It may not. There's a possibility it won't, but I think it will. So I'm making that motion.
So a friendly amendment, that would be a motion to rescind the introduction.
Yes.
There's no approval yet.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Can I clarify that you're moving that we rescind the approval?
The introduction. It's not been approved yet.
The approval of the introduction that we voted on in January?
Yes.
Too many words.
Yeah.
I think the motion would be to rescind the action you took when you introduced it, to render it a nullity. Takes it off the agenda. That's the motion, as I understand.
And
There was no approval.
now, Mr. Mills, I don't know what the rules of Robert's orders are before we have a discussion. Do we have a second first, and then we have a discussion?
Yes, yes, sir.
So we can have a discussion of the motion if we have a second for it.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Okay. So, would you like to go first? Would you like me to comment? Did you have comments? You?
Go ahead.
So, I was going to suggest tonight that and this was introduced in January. We had a public education session in March where the police came and we had health professionals. We had somebody from Daytop here, somebody from the county health services department give a presentation. There was a long Q&A, and I think the session lasted about 2 hours. And I thought it was very productive. We got some very good comments from the public. We chose at that time to postpone until May because Assemblyman Mancuso, who's the assemblyman for our district, saw what we were trying to do here and brought it to the state in his form. And what I was going to suggest tonight is we can wait to see what the state's going to do, but it's my opinion that we should postpone it 2, 3, 4 months. We had talked about maybe postponing it till September when everybody gets back from school break. We also had spoken to several of you about the Morristown's sellers ordinance, and that sellers ordinance was approved last night, I'm told, by the Morristown Council. So that is now enacted in law. And when we had the public information session, we had a lot of comments from residents that we should be going after sellers, not going after kids. My comments back then are the same as today. This is a very wide-ranging problems. Kathy said that it's multifaceted and it requires a multifaceted solution. This ordinance in and of itself is not the answer to the entire problem, but it is one facet to the problem. I think the sellers ordinance is another facet to the problem. An education program that we can work on with the school district over the summer when school's out and get ready for the fall would be another facet to the problem. And I heard very clearly that we need something in place for the kids that are already addicted. And we could put together something like that over the summer and really make this a multifaceted approach to the problem. But I don't think that we can keep on ignoring the problem as a society and just say, let the state take care of it. Somebody has to take the first step. Way back, Mr. Quinn can confirm this from what I understand, when underage drinking was a problem, Morris Township was one of the first communities to take the lead in tackling the underage drinking problem, and that's been on the books for years, and since 2001, and this is a very similar problem. It's underage, it's kids and young adults who are not allowed to buy tobacco, just as they're not allowed to buy alcohol, who are using them in possession of illegal substances that are illegal to purchase. And somebody has to do something about it. And If it has to start in Morris Township versus the state or the federal level, it's got to start somewhere. And I would love for it to start here. And I think the right approach is to push it to September, take the next 4 months to come up with this multifaceted program, work with the school district, work with Daytop and the Morris County Health Services to come up with an addiction program for kids that truly are addicted, because this is not going to help them. They need other kinds of help. And this is the approach we should take. But pulling it completely and starting over, I think is just the wrong thing to do.
I have a couple of questions and comments. My first question is the motion to rescind our original approval the same as simply withdrawing the ordinance? Is that the same thing?
The action taken by this body in January was to introduce the ordinance. It does not really dignify it as an approval. It sets up the legal process for the second reading and the public hearing. So there's no approval. The motion is to remove it from the agenda, completely render it a nullity.
So that's the same effect as withdrawing.
Exactly, as if on January 9th or whatever it was, no action was taken.
Okay.
It could be introduced at a later date.
It can, yeah, I mean, we've done the work, it's here. It can certainly be introduced in the same or modified form at a later date.
Okay. I'm in favor of doing that, but I would like to make a few comments about where we've come to get to this point.
Well,
No.
You're the boss, you're certainly free to make the comments, but it's not apropos the motion itself, which is just purely
So-
procedural.
Okay, so
But
we
I
have the
defer.
motion on the table. At what point do we get to make a few comments about the original vaping ordinance?
I mean, I think if you think it's pertinent to the discussion.
I'm sorry, Tim? Township. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the meeting you could. I understand you want to.
Is it
Well,
is it
Jeff
relative
made-
to my comments?
Yeah, Jeff made some comments, and your comments were